So what can you compare to that? You know, if someone gave you $1 million, it's not the same. If someone gave you a house and land, or, you know, nothing is equivalent to that. Someone giving you complete freedom for all suffering, like permanent solution to suffering, you know, eternal life, full of knowledge, full of bliss, you know, complete happiness forever. I mean, that's the topmost service. So that's what the spiritual teacher, a guru, is giving that service. So naturally, we should feel grateful. The student, the disciple should feel grateful and want to reciprocate. And then that will also be encouraging the spiritual teacher, the guru, that we are sincere, that we are sincere, that we are appreciating the knowledge that's been given. And the knowledge that's been given to us by the guru is understanding that we are a servant. We're a servant of God, and we're also just simply a servant all the time, isn't it? We have to serve our family, we serve the government, we have to serve the body, you know, we have to get food for the body and a place to sleep, and like that, we have to serve the body. So we're always serving. That's our nature. So the guru helps us to understand that's our nature, to serve. So we need to practice that. We're already serving all the time anyway. As a materialist, you know, if you've got a dog, right, you have to serve the dog, take it for a walk, you know, pick up its poo after it, like that. So we're always serving. But what we have to learn from the guru is how to serve God. And you might say, well, but God's not here. God's not here, so how do I serve him? But his representative is here. Who's God's representative? That's the guru. The guru, the spiritual master, is God's representative. So whatever service you do to the guru, that goes to God. So I serve the guru, that goes as a credit, goes directly to God. So this is a wonderful process. So we're getting trained up. The guru is training us up how to serve God, how to serve the Supreme Being. So we start right from the beginning by serving the guru. And that could be you clean his room, you cook for him, you wash his clothes, iron his clothes, you drive him somewhere. It could help him in some way with whatever his mission, help him in his mission. Like Prabhupada's main mission was to print these books and distribute them. Of course, you know, he was an old man, you know, how much he can do all by himself. So many disciples, they helped him in his mission by helping to print the books, helping to distribute the books. So he had thousands of disciples going out on the streets and that all over the world, shop to shop, house to house, distributing these books. And that was the instruction given to him by his guru. His guru instructed him to distribute this Krishna conscious knowledge. So Prabhupada took that up as his mission, and he needed some help. So many disciples, they helped him. So that service, you find out what pleases, what something pleasing you can do for your spiritual teacher, and try to serve in that way. And then he'll become very pleased, and then definitely he'll be inspired to give you more and more knowledge, being pleased by your service attitude that you have. And then the rest of the verse is saying the self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So this is the position of the spiritual master, that they are self-realized. They have understood, I am not the body. I am a spirit soul. I am a servant of the Supreme. I'm a servant of God. So they have seen the truth. They have seen the truth. This is a very amazing point to come to. And that's why it said that that Krishna consciousness is the Bhakti Yoga, is the perfection of a spiritual path. There's many spiritual paths. You could call them religions or yoga systems, all kinds of sacrifices. But Bhakti Yoga is a perfection of those different paths of either yoga or sacrifice or religion, because it brings you to the point where you can directly see God. That's far out. People say that, right? Well, show me God. Show me God. Actually, this process of Bhakti Yoga can bring you to the point where you can see God. If people say, oh, if I can see God, then I'll believe in God. If I can see him, then I'll believe in him. But now we're not qualified. We're not qualified to see God now because we're contaminated by Maya, by illusion. But if we get shown the process and practice that process of self-realization, Bhakti Yoga, then we can become purified to the point where we can actually see God. So that the topmost devotee, the topmost spiritual master, can actually see God. It means they have a direct relationship with God, eye to eye. And in Prabhupada's case, that was definitely the case. There was many actual events that took place that disciples realized that Prabhupada can actually see Krishna and talk with Krishna. So this is a very elevated position. Obviously not everyone, even among those that are on the path of spiritual realization, obviously not all of them are on that, have reached that point where they can actually have a direct relationship and seeing God. But at the higher stage, yes. So we're very fortunate that this Bhagavad Gita here has been translated and have a commentary by someone that has actually seen the truth, that can actually not just theoretically they have knowledge about the absolute truth about God, but they've realized the truth. They actually can see God. So let's read the purport. Bob, do you want to start it off?
Well, mate, so we're talking about the path of spiritual realization.
Yes.
Yep. Is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle or disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and the person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as it is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. It goes on to say at the Bhagavad.
You don't have to read the Sanskrit. That's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So the path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path.
Yeah. We'll just stop there for a minute.
Yep.
Before I forget. So one point it's making is that the spiritual master has to come in a line of spiritual masters that's connected to God, because ultimately the knowledge comes from where?
From God.
Where does transcendental knowledge ultimately come from?
From God.
Yeah, from God. Nobody else. The source of the knowledge has to be from God, because he's the only one that's completely perfect and knows everything, because he made everything. He knows how it all works. You got to go right to the source. So that knowledge has to come from God. But how does it come from God to you here today in Newcastle or in Auckland? It comes through this disciplic succession. So that means God spoke to someone.
Yep.
They spoke to someone. Then they spoke to someone. Then they spoke to someone. They spoke. And maybe it was 50 people before it gets to you. But that's how the knowledge comes. So that God speaks to someone, so that they're the first disciple. That disciple becomes a guru. They teach their disciple. That disciple becomes a guru. They teach their disciple. And like that, it goes on. So, and then so your guru teaches you, you're the disciple. Then when you've learnt the knowledge, when you've realized the knowledge, then you become a guru and you pass it on like that. And that's what I'm doing, that my guru taught me, whatever I've learned, I pass it on. Yep. So I'm his disciple, but you might say I'm acting like your guru. So it's very simple, actually. That you don't have to be a super brilliant or academically brilliant or whatever to be a guru. The qualification for being a guru, do you know what that is?
Well, I guess, is that a trick question, like you're talking about?
No, just think about what I'm saying.
Yeah. So is it
God is telling someone?
Is it to know the scriptures?
No, what that
is it to know?
Well, see, God spoke the knowledge to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they heard from God, they spoke the same thing to their disciple.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So then what is the qualification?
That you follow your guru's lessons.
Yes.
Truthful.
You're like chaste. You're chaste to whatever your guru has taught you. You don't change anything.
Yeah.
Like Prabhupada mentioned, no mental speculation. You don't speculate. You don't change anything. It means my guru told me that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what am I going to tell you?
The same.
The same thing. If I tell you the same thing, that means I'm a guru.
Yep.
If I tell you
yep.
that I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
yep.
or you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or everyone is the Personality of Godhead, or there is no Personality of Godhead, in all those cases, I've changed it, and I'm not a guru. I'm a speculator.
And like you said, you've got the proof, you've got the word from the guru, and it's also in the book.
It has to be the same. Yep. So that's the guru, is the person that doesn't change it. That's why, what did Prabhupada say? Bhagavad Gita as it is. As it is very important. This is the only Bhagavad Gita out of, probably there's 1,000 different Bhagavad Gita versions. This is the only one that's as it is. That he hasn't changed it. Everyone else has fiddled with it. And if you fiddle with it, then it's lost its power. It's lost its potency.
Yep.
If you have a medicine and you take the active ingredient out of the medicine, it's useless.
Yep.
I mean, you can put a sugar coating over it, and that's what often they do. Otherwise, the kid won't eat it. So you put a sugar coating over the medicine, because usually medicine's bitter, right? So you put a sugar coating over it, and then say this is a lolly, and then he'll take it, but it's going to work because it has the active ingredient, the bitter stuff in it. But if you take the bitter stuff out and you just give him the sugar coating, it's completely useless.
Of course.
So the same like that. So that's the real thing, is not to change what you've heard from your guru. That's the qualification. You don't have to have, graduated from high school and university and have a PhD and so many things. What you have to have is just be chaste to your own spiritual master, what you've heard, to not change anything, not to have a fertile brain and just concocting everything up. I'll fiddle with this and fiddle with that, and I'll add this and take this out. That's what most people like to do. Our brain is so like a monkey, jumping here and there. I like this bit out of the Bhagavad Gita, but I don't like this bit out of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll take that bit out. It's like the Christians. I like it where it says Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life. There's no one else can come to me but him. But they don't like other bits, like thou shalt not kill.
Yep.
Love thy neighbor. Thou shalt not commit adultery. They don't like those bits. But they like, it was said, just believe in Jesus and you're going to go to heaven or whatever. Then they like those bits, but they don't like other bits where he says you got to do some sacrifice. So many things that require some sacrifice, or some difficulty. They don't like those bits, but they take other bits out. So you can't, if you approached transcendental knowledge like that, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to get out of it. I mean, you might get some followers or whatever, but you're not going to get out of the material world. When you die, you're going to take birth again. You're going to come back for sure. Yeah. So you have to take everything. You have to take everything in toto. You can't just, take the bits that you like out of it and leave the other bits. You have to take the whole lot and don't change anything. Otherwise, you buggered up the whole process. And the other thing which Prabhupada mentions, like I mentioned, is that the transcendental knowledge, it starts with God. It has to start with God. If it's starting with us, it means it's speculation. Like if you ask a guru, who's your guru? And he says, I don't have a guru. I'm a self-made guru. He's a cheater. It can't start with us.
Rascal.
What's that? Rascal, yeah. Rascal, yeah. It can't start with us. It has to start from the Supreme. We're just the vessel. We're just an instrument to pass it on. Like in the postal system, right? We're the postie. We're just passing the parcel. We're just delivering it. We're just delivering. We don't change the package, isn't it? If you're a postie and you change the package, you're fired, mate. You're fired.
Mm.
You took the guy's bloody parcel out the thing out of the parcel. You don't touch what's inside it. You just got to deliver it. So like that. You're just like the postie. Don't change it. You just got to deliver it from this person to that person. It came from your guru, and you got to pass it on to the next person, like that. So if you do that, then it's all good. So we're very lucky that in this line hasn't been broken between Krishna and us. And Prabhupada was the guru, the latest, most recent guru, and it's an unbroken line coming from Krishna to him. So it's perfect knowledge, perfect. It's just like you're hearing directly from God. That's pretty far out. Whatever Prabhupada's speaking, it's like God speaking. That's pretty far out.
Very special.
Very special. Anyone that can have that opportunity is very fortunate. Very fortunate. Okay, let's finish it off, the purport. We'll wrap it up.
You want me to read it out?
Yeah, just keep reading where you left off.
I think this is where I've left off. Is one has the approach of a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life.
There you have it. That's the secret. What's the secret of advancement? What did it say? What's the secret of advancement? That's what we want, right? We want to advance in spiritual life. So what's the secret to advancing in spiritual life?
Wait on.
I forgot
to serve the spiritual master. To follow the scriptures.
No, it came just at the beginning of that sentence.
I read it.
Satisfaction of the spiritual master. That's the secret of success.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. So if the spiritual, which basically means pleased, right? So if the spiritual master is pleased with us or satisfied with us by our service, if he's pleased or satisfied by our service, that's the secret of success. Pleasing the spiritual master. Because remember, he's the representative of God.
Yep.
So if you please the representative, that means you've pleased who?
Krishna.
If you please the representative, that means you've pleased
Krishna.
Yeah, you please, because the spiritual master is Krishna's representative. So if you please the representative, you please God. So by serving the spiritual master, you're actually serving God. That's amazing, isn't it? By serving the spiritual master, you're serving God. If your spiritual master is pleased, if he says, Bob, I'm really pleased with your service, Bob. I'm really sad. Mate, you have hit the jackpot. You are home and hose. You're home and hose. So that's Gianty's waving in the background.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So that's our perfection. That's what we're after. Try to please the spiritual master. Try to satisfy them. But what's the impediment? It's saying we should serve him as a menial servant, and that's what stops a lot of people. They don't want to be a servant of anybody. But what the stupid idiots don't realize, the rascals realize, is that they have to serve anyway. If you don't want to serve the spiritual master, and he's not going to exploit you and abuse you anyway, he's a nice guy.
Yep.
And he has all good qualities. But if you don't want to serve the spiritual master as a menial servant, you become a menial servant of your wife. You become a menial servant of your kids. You become a menial servant of your parents. You become a menial servant of your government. You become a menial servant of your boss. You become a menial servant of your dog. You become a menial servant of, you get the idea, right? So you become a menial servant of your body. When the stomach is groaning, you have to find something for it to eat. When the body's tired, you have to find a place to lie down. So we don't realize that you're already a menial servant. But why don't you become a menial servant of a good master rather than be the menial servant of a bad master? Because we're the menial servant of so many bad masters, and they do exploit us, and they do abuse us, and they're never grateful for what we do, and they always want more. Whatever service we do, it's never enough. So why don't we think, I have to serve, so why don't I find a perfect master? And that's the spiritual master, is the perfect master. He's never going to cheat us, never going to exploit or abuse us. He loves us. His only purpose is to make us happy. That's far out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like Prabhupada said one time that the only purpose of a spiritual master is to make everyone happy. That's far out. You know, who else is thinking like that? The government's thinking like that?
Certainly not.
The only purpose of the Labour Party in New Zealand is to make all the citizens happy. Crap. They're not. Sorry to use the language, but it's like that. All they care about is their own personal agendas, keeping themselves in power, making more money in their bank account, becoming famous. They don't give a stuff about anything else than that, you know. So that's the thing. So we have to serve. So why not find out the best person to serve? We're going to get the best benefit. That if I serve this person, it's going to give me the best benefit. And like I said, if I serve this guy and he shows me how to get eternal life and get free from death and taking birth again, man, that's it. You know, that's the pinnacle.
How wonderful.
That's the pinnacle. You know, that's the top of the peak, you know. So why not? You know, because my nature is to serve. And that the guru is pointing that out. That's pointed out in transcendental knowledge. Part of the transcendental knowledge is self-realization, to realize that you're not the body. We think we're the enjoyer of this world, that we're the controller of the world, but that's the illusion. We're not the enjoyer or the controller or the master or the proprietor of this world. We're a tiny, insignificant, minute, helpless servant. We're so helpless. We're so dependent. We're not independent. Anyone that says they're independent is brain dead. You know, we're so dependent. We're so helpless. Even now, we've got this coronavirus all over the world, right? You can't even see the coronavirus. It's so small, and it's brought the whole world to its knees. Isn't that ridiculous? How dependent. It's brought governments to their knees. It's brought whole nations to their knees. It's brought families, individuals, businesses. It's completely crumbled them. Just this tiny thing, which you can't even see it. We're so helpless. We are a servant. We're not in control. We're under control. We're being controlled. So anyone that says, "Oh, I'm not controlled by anybody. I'm the master. I'm nobody's servant," mate, you're a servant of coronavirus. It's completely whipping you. So anyone that says they're not a servant, is a very ignorant person and very puffed up, very proud. So that's the thing. It comes back to we have to become humble. So that's the beginning of spiritual life. That's the first lesson from the guru. That's the very first lesson of the guru. You have to become humble. You're just a tiny, tiny, tiny soul, helpless in this material world, suffering from birth and death and old age and disease. Like that, it's very humbling. We like to say, you got to eat humble pie. You got to eat humble pie. In ignorance, we're so proud, big ego, big false ego. We're very proud. Okay, let's finish this off. We've run out of time. So the secret of success, satisfaction. Yep. So inquiries.
Inquiries, whereabouts? I've got satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master. Oh God, just repeat it.
Yeah, so go read it again. It's a good one. It's the best line.
Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret advancement in spiritual life.
Yeah.
Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Yep, got that. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able...
That's what we talked about before, but we'll just reinforce that.
Yep.
So if you ask questions, which you should do, it's saying you should ask questions, but unless there's submission, means humility,
Yep.
then your questions won't work. It won't be effective. And if there's no service. So there has to be three things on our side as the disciple, three things we have to do. You have to be submissive, means humble,
Yep.
not puffed up and challenging.
Yep.
And you have to serve. You have to be trying to please the person. You have to serve the person, trying to please them. And then you have to ask questions. So if you're doing that, if you're humble and you're asking questions and you're serving, then you're on your way. You're on your way. Okay. Yep. Can continue.
Okay. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding.
See, that's interesting. So what do you mean? What are you saying? The spiritual master is testing the disciple? Why not? The science teacher is going to test you. The maths teacher is going to test you. The physics teacher, the doctor, medical teacher is going to test you. Every other damn teacher on the planet is going to test you. Why can't the spiritual master test you? So he's going to test to see whether you're sincere. Do you really want to serve Krishna? Or do you want to become Krishna? If you want to become Krishna, become God, you failed the test. If you want to serve Krishna, you pass the test. Like that, he's going to test you all the way through. How much you want to serve. Do you think you're going to be qualified to go back to the spiritual world unless you like to serve God?
I wouldn't think so.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
You can't get through that door unless you're happy to serve, unless you've accepted the fact that you're a servant of the Supreme, you're not going to get through that door. So who's the one that's going to check whether you're ready or not to go through that door? That's the spiritual master. So he's going to test you. And when he's tested you fully and you've passed all of the tests fully, then he's satisfied, he's pleased, and you're out of here. So this is the thing. It's no different in any material subject. There's tests. Same with spiritual life. There's also tests. And tests is what makes us grow, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Unless the student is tested, you just remain always just, slack and lazy, and you don't try hard. But it's the tests that make you push harder and, work harder and put more effort in and to pass the test. So it's necessary. Without tests, it's not possible that we're going to progress. But it's not necessarily like a written exam or anything like that. But he's watching, observing, everything like that. And, that's how it's going on. Okay, let's finish it off.
Right, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one fear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind towards the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
Perfect. That's what we like to hear. Perfect.
Becomes perfect.
Perfect. So that's how we can become perfect. If we're submissive, means humble, not challenging, and always ready to render service anytime. Always, we like to serve. We're happy to serve. We like to serve. We're always willing and ready to serve. And then there's a perfect reciprocation. So from our side, we're humble and we're asking questions with the idea that we want to learn. We want to learn, and we don't think we know everything. We want to learn, so we're very humble and we ask nice questions. Very, very eager to learn, to get the answers, and we're always wanting to render service. Then that's from our side, and then from the guru's side, they give us transcendental knowledge. So we give some menial service, and they give us transcendental knowledge. So that's a good deal. That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Humble, service, and inquisitive.
Yes, humble, service, and inquisitive. Yeah. And Prabhupada also said that blind following is condemned. So we already mentioned that. You don't have to be a blind follower, but you should hear what they're saying and check it out. You can check it out in the scriptures. But whatever the person is telling you, you're only going to know whether it's right or wrong if you know the scriptures. If, like, for example, if you don't read Bhagavad Gita, how are you going to know what they're saying is right or not?
Of course.
Then you're stuffed. Like then you're just a blind follower. Then you're just accepting. That's the problem. Like for example, a lot of Christians have. They listen to the guy on the giving the lecture, in the church, but they don't read the Bible, or they don't understand it. It's written in really difficult kind of language, and most of them, they either haven't read it or they don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And also the people that are speaking don't know what it means. That's when you're in real trouble. The people that are speaking it don't know what it means. And they're adding stuff and taking out stuff. They're speculating. then they don't have a direct line to God. See, Jesus Christ, at that point when he was present on the earth, he was in a direct line from God. He was in a disciplic succession too. But after he left, it got broken. So the modern day Christians are not connected to Jesus. There's been some break in between. So the knowledge is lost.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the Bible. I mean, it says black and white, thou shalt not kill, but they don't get it. They don't get it. Because they're not submissive. You know, they don't have a real service attitude. They have an enjoying spirit. If you have an enjoying spirit, you're not going to want someone to say, don't kill. What do you mean? I can't eat cows. I can't eat sheep. I can't eat pigs. I can't eat chickens. You know, I can't eat all this stuff. You know, you don't want to do it because you think you're the enjoyer. You want to just enjoy your tongue. But if you have a service attitude, okay, my master is telling me I can't kill anything. I can't eat this meat and stuff. So then you accept that. Okay, humbly, you know, now I used to eat it, but now I'm not going to eat it because my master is telling me thou shalt not kill. So I'll do that. But if you have a arrogant, proud attitude, you think you're the enjoyer and everything, then you're not going to take that one. So that's what I mean. The modern day Christians, many times they don't accept the authority of God. They want the benefits that God is giving, but they don't want to do what he says. So, but that doesn't work like that. If you want to enjoy the benefits that comes with God, being with God, then you've got to do what he says. You see what I mean?
Yep.
It's not a one-way relationship. It's two-way. You want something from God. Okay, that's all right. You got to do what he wants. He wants something from you. You see what I'm saying? Love is two-way.
Sure.
And service is two-way. Like it's saying here, disciple and guru is two-way. It's not one way. You can't just go to the guru and say, mate, you unload all your knowledge on me. It's not so easy. He's not like a computer you can just download everything off. He's a person. He has feelings. He's smart. He's not stupid. He's not going to be just exploited by a materialist. You've got to give evidence to him that you're sincerely wanting to progress in understanding the absolute true transcendental knowledge. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. He might give you something else. He's not going to give you the real thing. You know, so like that. So that's a big problem. A lot of modern day religions and yoga processes and everything is they've lost that connection with the Supreme, and people don't understand their modern scripture, the scriptures they have. There's no one that can explain it properly. The people that are explaining it don't know what it means, so they don't explain it properly. And the people can't figure out what the scriptures mean themselves without a teacher. So it's a real going nowhere fast scenario, going round and round. And at the end of the day, what that means is they'll die and they have to take birth again. Whereas if you follow the process properly, if you have the scriptures that haven't been changed, and the person that's speaking them is directly connected with God, then you can really get somewhere. But we should be sincere also to read the scriptures ourselves, so we know when the person speaks whether it's the truth or not, like that. And then we're secure, and then we won't be just a blind follower. And any genuine teacher will tell the disciple to read the scriptures as well. Like Prabhupada said to all of his disciples, you read my books. You read my books. He wanted the disciples to read the books. And then any other Tom, Dick, and Harry speaks to you in your life, that's your reference point. And then you say, oh, this matches up with what the scripture said. Okay, I accept that. Oh, this disagrees with what the scriptures say. Oh, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to follow that one. And that way you're safe. Otherwise, you'll go left and right and up and down, and you'll be all over the place. Have you ever tried to go somewhere that you've never been before? And say before the GPS was invented, and you ask someone,
yep.
You ask someone, oh, how do I get to such and such street? And they say, oh, turn left, and you go left, and it's not there. And then someone else, you ask them, they say, oh, go take the second right, and you take that one, then you don't get there either. So it's like that. You'll just be all over the place.
Yeah.
So we want to find someone that truly knows the path. And also we want to have the map as well. See, that's the thing, you know, like if you want to get somewhere, if you find someone that knows where your destination is and you have a map, then you're not going to have a problem. You're not going to have a problem. And if the person says take the second right to get to the street, you can look at the map. And they say, what he said is the same as what the map says. That's good. That's what you want. That's what you want. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
So we're very lucky. We've got the correct map. We just got to find the correct teacher that's in line with the map. And we're so fortunate that Swami Prabhupada, he's an authorized teacher of transcendental knowledge. And on our part, we just have to be very careful not to change it, to remain chaste to our teacher. Prabhupada said that we ourselves, we are very limited. We're not perfect. We have so many imperfections. But, he said, although I am not perfect, but whatever I speak is perfect. That's pretty interesting, huh? I am not perfect, right?
Whatever I speak.
But whatever I speak is perfect because I only speak what I have heard from my spiritual master. That's far out. I love that when Prabhupada said that. That's so cool.
Mm.
I am not perfect, but my speaking is perfect because I don't change anything. I speak only what I've heard from my spiritual master and repeating that. So whatever's speaking is perfect. That's far out. When you find someone that's doing that, that's pretty cool. That's what we need to find. So this is what our search in life is, to find such a bona fide spiritual master. So that's it from me. Anything you'd like to say, Bob? Anything that comes to mind?
I loved it. Thank you so much, and really appreciate it, Abhay. You know that.
Yes, I do.
I love our soul searching Thursdays.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm happy. Is Josh there?
No, he's gone. He obviously had to go and do something else. Well, I wish I got to say. See, I talk so fast and so much that he doesn't get a chance to get a word in. See, that's what I mean. I'm not perfect, so I get carried away.
But what you speak.
But yeah, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with you. I'm very pleased.
Thank you.
I'm very pleased. You're very very submissive.
I'm trying to take it all in.
Have a nice service attitude.
Thank you.
That's good. You're doing really well. If you can, because you know the others missed out. If you bump into anyone else in the group, you could tell them some things that you learned today.
Well, I'm hoping to go up the farm next Wednesday, actually.
Oh yeah. Or if you bump into Gulshan also, or Bhakti Mala at the the farm.
Yeah, I will. And I you might remember Lindy that I used to come up with. Well, I spoke to her a couple of days ago and asked if she'd come for a drive. So we do plan to go Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So that's our motto, pass it on. Whatever you learn, pass it on.
Great.
And that's what we want. We want everyone to be happy, you know, and this transcendental knowledge can make people happy. I mean, this transcendental knowledge, it completely changed my life, this knowledge. I was so ignorant before, I was suffering so much. And this knowledge has just completely changed my life.
Well, you know, you say it opens your eyes, but I mean, the thing that you told me about floating around on the top of the ocean, how boring that can be. But when you take a dive underneath and really have a look around,
Yeah,
how wonderful and interesting it can be. So that's exactly how I found it. I just can't get enough.
yeah. So that's the whole point with the soul searching sessions, is to go deeper, to dive deeper.
Yeah.
You know, we can read the book, but we might just be splashing around on top. But the idea of this, studying it from different angles and like that, and just spending time going deeper rather than just a superficial read over it, is it's really helping us to really extract the nectar.
And Abhay, answer me this: have you been able to mix with like-minded people where you are? Like, are you near the Hare Krishna headquarters or farm, or haven't you been able to get there?
We're less than half an hour from the farm.
Okay, so you're getting to
We're
spend.
there. I don't know if you heard, but New Zealand's not the whole of New Zealand, but Auckland has gone into another lockdown.
Yeah, I did know that.
Did yesterday.
Yep.
So it's level 3, not level 4. Level 4 is the worst one, but
Yep.
level 3 is still pretty bad. So it's pretty restrictive. So, and the rest of the country outside of Auckland's at level 2, which is a little bit restrictive.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was a real bummer, because the news of the lockdown came the day before Janmashtami, the day before Krishna's birthday. So they'd made all the preparation to have about 10,000 people come to the farm. They had big tents. They had tons of food. They had decorated the whole place, spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And then the government said, sorry, you can't have anyone come, you know, so everything was cancelled, you know, so that was a major bummer. So even I can't go there now.
So have you
I have been there, though, in the past when it was open.
Have you been doing some cooking? Not like I meant before the...
I mean, luckily, they got the news before they started the bulk of the cooking.
No, but what about you? Are you just over the last several weeks, have you been able to get in and do a bit of cooking there, or?
No. We've just been focused. They already got it all sorted out and that. And
yeah.
I mean, if I got into the network there and then had to leave, it would be a bit silly just doing it for a month or two, because they've got, you know, people that's their weekly slot is to cook at that time or whatever. Yeah. So, and we were often driving up north to look at land. We finally found a place and we put in an offer. They've accepted it. So we should be actually moving next Friday.
All the best for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and look, I wish you all the best and stay safe, because I do follow the news every morning just to see what's going on with COVID.
Yep.
And you've had such a great run over. There was 100 days or something.
Yes.
Without any issues, and then all of a sudden you've got that cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you know, Newcastle, we're very fortunate here. Not much is happening in town. We were on the knife's edge about a week ago because of some naughty people, rascals coming up from Sydney. Oh,
okay.
But our numbers have dropped dramatically, so we're good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you take care also, and I hope that thing with you fainting and that gets all sorted out. And
mate, I hope, as you know, like I had severe problems last Christmas, but mate, what happened last week was it was a bit cool, so I put the oven on as well as a couple of heaters, so it was nice and warm for when Claire came home.
Oh, that's nice.
And I had a really heavy clothing on, and I'm hoping it was dehydration.
Oh, okay. Make sure you drink plenty of water then. Yeah.
Well,
Another thing, I mean, I think my wife's giantis fainted once or twice, and that happened in her case because of low blood sugar. So
okay.
I don't know in your case, but there's things like that can cause you to faint, like low blood sugar and maybe some, I don't know, other things.
Well,
but yeah, you want to know what's causing it.
Abe, when I was in Cambodia at the guest house, often people would come in my age and faint, and all they needed was a drink of water. So it's a problem with the elderly because we don't tend to get thirsty like you did when you're younger.
Yeah.
So, I never get thirsty, mate. So I don't drink a lot. And that particular night, I drank 5 glasses of water and nothing came out. What does
That's
that
a
say?
sign you're really dehydrated.
Yeah.
So you try to keep on top of that. See it as your service. See,
Sorry?
Service. See it as your service.
Yes.
That you're a servant, and this body belongs to Krishna, not to you.
Yeah.
Krishna's given you this body. You have to look after it. That's your responsibility to look after this body in Krishna's service.
I'm starting to realise that Krishna's got total control over me. I get so excited about Soul Searching Thursdays, but I was really after I got off the floor, I was really disappointed that I missed you.
Well, I wondered what happened, and I thought, you must have had to do something.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's pretty shocking to hear from you that you'd passed out on the spot there.
Yeah, and mate, just so you know, I'm about like just a few pages short of finishing the consciousness book that I've been reading that the last couple of weeks, and I'm loving it. I've read it before. This is about the second or third time.
Oh, great. Fantastic.